Welcome back to the Exposure History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like, so you don't miss out on more videos like this. Rosie gets a kiss from her fiancé. Her conjoined twin, Mary, watches quietly. No jealousy, just understanding. They were born joined at the hip. Two minds, two hearts, one unbreakable bond. Captured in the 1940s. Their photo says it all. Love found a way. One heart each, but a life together. Not divided, united, always. Grasshoppers, almost a meter long. Yep, 90 centimeters of pure hopping nightmare. Farmer Al Butts just wanted bigger apples. He used a new super fertilizer. Then boom, giant insects started showing up. Fields swarmed, crops vanished, people ran. Photos from the time look unreal. Nature twisted by man's hand. What was in that fertilizer? No one's sure. But the grasshoppers? Berlin, 1946. World War II was over, but the ruins stayed. The victory came at a cost. Streets once full of life, now dust and debris. The photo shows a city turned ghost. Shells of buildings, windows shattered like memories. Fire, rubble, silence. The war had ended, but Berlin still whispered its scars. World War I, 1914 to 1918. British pilots took to the skies. No radar, no parachutes, no safety net. Just canvas wings, leather helmets, and guts. They flew into chaos and tossed bombs by hand, mid-air. No targeting systems, just timing and luck. Experimental warfare at its rawest. And you thought paper planes were tricky. This was deadly improvisation at 10,000 feet. April 1943. A chilling goodbye at a train station. Hitler and Mussolini, side by side. Two dictators, one photo, empty smiles, hollow eyes. Their empires stretched thin. Their armies are bleeding. This wasn't a strength, it was desperation. Right before it all began to fall apart, the axis cracking, the end is creeping closer, history captured in a single frame. 1977, Central African Republic. Jean Bedel Bokassa crowns himself emperor. Not elected, self-declared royalty. A $20 million coronation inspired by Napoleon. Gold-trimmed robes, diamond crown. Thrones were hauled in from France. School children forced to cheer, call it a coronation or a circus. Opulence in a starving nation. History never forgot Bokassa I. He made sure of that. Paris, 1871. Revolutionaries build a barricade, stone by stone, heart by heart. The Paris Commune was born in smoke and defiance. France had just lost to Prussia. Napoleon III had fallen. The empire was gone. But the people, still ready to fight. Workers, thinkers, and dreamers arming themselves with hope. For 72 days, they ran the city. Wrestling a bear. During wartime? That's Voytek, the bear soldier, adopted by Polish troops in Iran, mascot of Poland's Second Corps in World War II. But he wasn't just for morale. He carried ammo crates at Monte Cassino. Never dropped a single one. He earned a rank. Yes, seriously, Corporal Voytek. A salute. A legend, a bear among men. New York Times, 1942. Hot type, fast hands. Ink-stained shirts, editors shouting over clatter. Amid World War II, news moved fast, faster than bombs, almost. Deadlines weren't suggestions, they were battle cries. These presses didn't just print headlines, they printed history. Front lines on front pages. Truth in every column inch. The war roared, so did the newsroom. 1909, North Dakota. Meet Bear's Belly, an Arikara warrior. Photographed by Edward Curtis, his gaze steady, proud. Every line on his face tells a story. Not just a portrait, a legacy, a moment of dignity frozen in time. One man, one tribe, one story captured forever. Amid a changing America, Bear's Belly stood for what endured. Glacier National Park, 1913. Members of the Blackfoot tribe, draped in traditional clothes, standing on ancestral lands. Photographed by Roland Reed, his lens romantic, almost serene. The photo says peace, stillness, harmony with nature. But the history behind it says struggle, land taken, promises broken, cultures pushed to the edge. Black Forest, 1936. 5 coffins lined up in the mist. Young guards in uniform stand silently. No fanfare, no music, just loss. They were foreign students, part of a paramilitary training program, promised purpose, given hardship. They faced brutal trials in the woods. Only 5 made it home in coffins. Training turned deadly, and the forest remembered. Dark humor or harsh truth? General Hap Arnold sets a dinner table. For war criminals, plates, silverware, name cards. Each seat was labeled for a Nuremberg defendant. Göring, Ribbentrop, Keitel. Not a feast, but a message. 1946. Justice was about to be served, literally. The table was empty, but the judgment, full course. Cold, deliberate, unforgettable. San Diego Zoo, 1940s. A Chinese delegation visits, smiles, shakes hands, and carefully eyes tigers, pandas, and politics. It wasn't just about animals, it was about presence, partnership, and quiet diplomacy. Even in war-torn times, the world kept watching. Allies met in strange places, zoos, gardens, anywhere peace could pretend to breathe. Even for a moment. Kids in gas masks? Yes, this happened in England during World War II. Tiny faces behind rubber and glass, issued by the British government just in case. Bombs dropped, sirens screamed. Gas attacks were feared after the horrors of World War I. These masks were a child's second skin. Playgrounds met paranoia. Innocence wore a filter. War didn't spare the young. Kimberley, South Africa, 1954. Deep in the De Beers diamond mines, workers toiled in the dark. Each day ended the same, with an X-ray. Why? To stop them from smuggling gems in their bodies, throats, stomachs, even wounds. The company scanned them like machines. Hard job, harder exit. Shining stones, hidden in shadows. Wealth above, surveillance below. November 16, 1942. U.S. forces opened fire on the French battleship Jean Bart. It flew the Vichy flag, France, but under Nazi influence. Casablanca, Morocco, turned into a war zone, fast. Shells rained, smoke rose. Operation Torch was underway. Allies versus former allies. Confusion, politics, and firepower collided at sea. No easy targets, no clean lines. 1986. A child is left behind in a radioactive village. The streets are empty. Toys still lie scattered. An operator in full protective gear moves through the ruins. The Geiger counter was ticking like a heartbeat. He checks radiation levels, carefully, coldly. No one speaks of the child's fate. The silence? Deafening. Creepy? Or touching? Early 1900s. Before cameras were common, people made death masks of loved ones. Plaster molds pressed gently over still faces. Frozen expressions, peaceful, pained, eternal. Every line, every wrinkle was captured in silence. One last look, forever. A way to grieve, a way to remember. A face never truly gone. 1956. Winners of the Miscorrect Posture contest pose proudly. Sashes, crowns, and perfect poise, but also X-rays. Yes, posture was judged by your actual spine. Trophies in one hand, spinal scans in the other. Beauty met biology. Smile for the bone scan. Because standing tall wasn't just graceful, it had to be medically proven. Ella Harper, 1885. Born with a rare condition, genu recurvatum. Her knees bent backward, not forward. They called her the Camel Girl. She walked on all fours, earning both stars and a spot in the circus. Crowds watched. Few understood. Circus fame followed. But her story? Still misunderstood. Not just a spectacle. A girl surviving in a world that looked away. Eiffel Tower, 1888. Men dangle like spiders. No harness, no nets, no fear. Just grit, balance, and bolts. High above Paris, they shaped history. One steel beam at a time. The wind howled. The city watched. Each step was a gamble. But the vision? Unshakable. Before it was a landmark, it was a leap of faith. Ellis Island, 1910s. Immigrants crowded the deck, eyes wide, hearts racing. After weeks at sea, they stood shoulder to shoulder. One sight brought silence. The Statue of Liberty. Hope is carved in copper. A new life just ahead? Or was it? Names would be changed, dreams questioned. Not everyone got through. America waited, but not with open arms for all. 120 miles per hour. The German Schienenzeppelin hit that in 1931. Faster than any train of its time. It looked like a rocket with a propeller, Streamlined, surreal, and loud, speed met style and danger. One giant prop at the rear, spinning inches from the tracks. It broke records, but safety broke the dream. Too fast, too risky, too ahead of its time. 1966. Space. Buzz Aldrin floats above Earth and snaps his first space selfie. Gemini 12 missioned the final flight of the program. Spacewalks, scientific experiments, and problem-solving in zero gravity. But that photo? Helmet reflection, glove raised, Earth behind him. Before the moon, there was this. A man, a camera. The infinite history, one frame closer. Einstein didn't just teach science. In 1946, he showed up at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. It was the first U.S. college for black undergrads. He didn't go for fame, he went for justice. He spoke out against racism, segregation, and silence. He gave them a speech straight from the heart. Genius with a conscience. His mind changed physics. His voice tried to change the world. Midtown Manhattan, 1925. The car boom hit hard. Engines roared where footsteps once ruled. Traffic exploded. Horns, smoke, steel everywhere. What was once walkable became a choking maze. Pedestrians squeezed between fenders. Horse-drawn days were over. The skyline climbed, and so did the noise. The city was evolving fast and losing its breath just as quickly. Hans Bellmer, 1936. His dolls were not toys. They were surreal, twisted, and political. Each piece is a protest, each joint a message, a sculpture with bent limbs and blank stares, a reflection of Germany's fractured soul, disturbing but unforgettable. Al Carrick, Jordan, 1907. A young Bedouin woman gazes ahead, calm, proud, unflinching. Facial tattoos mark more than skin. They tell her tribe, her lineage, her strength. Each line holds meaning, ritual, protection, and identity. Photographed by a traveler, but she's no curiosity. She is history, rooted deep in the desert. Vincenzo Peruggia. Not just a name, he stole the Mona Lisa. Now he's in court, Italy. The world's most famous painting, and the thief who just walked out with it. 1911, Louvre Museum, August 21st. No guards. Vincenzo Peruggia sees the Mona Lisa and grabs it. Gone, just like that. History's boldest art theft? Maybe. Harrison Ford, carpenter. 1970, long before Star Wars. No fame, no blasters. He built cabinets, not spaceships. Worked on sets, fixed doors. Just a guy with a toolbox and rent to pay. Before Han Solo or Indiana Jones, he was measuring wood, not screen time. Hollywood didn't call until George Lucas needed a door fixed and found a star instead. 1947. A Ford car with a bubble roof, a full glass dome stretched over the seats. Sunlight everywhere, privacy nowhere. It looked like a spaceship on wheels, streamlined, bold, strange, too weird to survive, too cool to forget. It never made mass production, but it made headlines. Back when cars dreamed big and dared to look like tomorrow. F.E. Yates, early 1900s. Riding his custom-built motorcycle, a machine born from grease, grit, and imagination. No factory builds, just hands, wrenches, and raw vision. Every bolt was tightened by willpower. He didn't follow blueprints, he made them. Pioneers didn't buy bikes. They built freedom with their own two hands. Steel, sweat, and speed. April 10th, 1912. The Titanic leaves Southampton, a floating palace, massive, elegant, unstoppable. Crowds waved, cameras flashed. She was the pride of an era, but it was her first and last voyage. Luxury met ice, confidence met fate. The sea had other plans, and history would never forget her name. Sweden, 1967. One morning, chaos. At exactly 5 a.m., drivers switched sides of the road, from left to right, by law. It was called H-Day for Hooger traffic, right-hand traffic. New signs, new habits, confusion at every corner. Europe cheered progress. Swedish drivers, mostly panicked. Overnight, the whole country relearned how to drive. The order eventually returned, but not without a few wild turns. London, 1921. A steam train roars through the tight-knit homes of Kensal. Rise. Smoke pours into kitchens. Windows rattle. Steel screeches on rails. It thundered through the city like a beast, unstoppable, unbothered. People lived just inches from the tracks, drinking tea while the walls shook. Progress was loud, and London never stopped moving. San Francisco, 1937. The Golden Gate Bridge had just opened, a marvel of steel stretching over foggy waters. Crowds flooded the roadway, walking it before cars ever did. Cameras clicked, flags waved, steel, fog, and freedom. It wasn't just a bridge, it was a statement, a symbol of what America could build even in the shadow of the Great Depression. Daring, defiant, iconic from day one. Fort Worth, Texas, 1952. Two women in shorts stroll by, confident, carefree, and turning heads. A man whistles from the curb. Post-war America was shifting fast. Fashion, freedom, and female confidence were on the rise. But not everyone was ready. Some stared in judgment, others in admiration. A simple walk became a quiet revolution, one step closer to modern America. London, 1877. Italian street musicians fill the air with harp and melody. Children gather, coins clink. A man guides the group, weathered hands, steady rhythm. Captured by John Thompson, one of history's first street photographers. He didn't pose scenes, he revealed them. Moments like this where music, migration, and everyday life danced together on cobblestone streets. 1940s. Students, outdoors, focused. Sunshine warms their backs. Coca-Cola bottles sweat on the desks. Notebooks open, pencils moving. Wooden desks, iron legs, no screens in sight, no TikTok, no Wi-Fi, just chatter, chalk, and old-school hustle. In literal schools, learning felt slower, quieter, maybe even sweeter. The distractions? Birds, breeze, and each other. Marilyn Monroe, London, 1956. She's on a bike, smiling like the world's lightest secret, winding through a quiet lot, not a red carpet. A hand-painted sign on the handlebars. To Marilyn, from your friend Diana. Simple, sweet. Even legends get love notes. She was filming The Prince and the Showgirl, but for a moment, just a woman on a bicycle, laughing in the London sun. Mid-1940s. A women's bowling team strikes a pose on a gleaming Chevrolet hood. Matching uniforms, perfect curls, and confidence that could shatter pins. A single bowling ball, front and center, like a trophy and a warning. They weren't just there to look good, they came to win. Style met sport in full swing, and these ladies rolled through the post-war years with flair, grit, and grace. Great Plains, 1890. A Native American camp encircles a beautifully decorated teepee. Patterns tell stories, symbols protect, men stand proud, silent, watchful. One sits tall on horseback as if carved from the earth itself. This wasn't just life, it was culture, it was identity. It was quiet resistance in the face of a vanishing world. Each campfire, each stitch in a blanket, a declaration, we are still here. Ireland, 1910. A young woman plays the harp beneath the towering rock of Cashel. Her fingers dance across strings. Notes rise into ancient stone. Hundreds gather in silence, breath held. One of Ireland's most sacred ruins, now echoing with music instead of myth. The past stood still, while her song carried it forward. Old kings once ruled here, but on that day, a harp held the power. 1920s America. Gas stations popped up like wildflowers along endless highways. Cars weren't just machines, they were freedom on four wheels. Families packed up, lovers hit the road. Before the Great Depression loomed, this was the golden age of road trips. Fuel, freedom, and a new way of living. Maps unfolded, windows down. The American dream now had an engine. Jack Nicholson offset during The Shining, 1980. He's in costume, snow-dusted, chilling like it's no big deal. That calm look, seconds before total madness on screen. Kubrick's horror masterpiece, born from icy patience. Athens, 1869. The Acropolis towers in the distance, silent, eternal. The Parthenon crowns the hill like a faded jewel. Below, narrow streets wind upward, modern life slowly crawling toward ancient stone. Children play where philosophers once walked, a city caught between centuries. One breathtaking shot where marble gods overlook laundry lines. Athens, frozen in contrast, yet forever alive. 1933. A massive stingray is hoisted by a crane. Crowds gather, jaws drop. This wasn't Photoshop, this was real, and it was huge. A man in uniform stands by a giant stingray, clipboard in hand. He likely caught it or measured it. The size? Still jaw-dropping today. What else is lurking in the deep? Turn of the 20th century. A couple of picnics in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Linen clothes, wicker basket, soft smiles. Captured on delicate glass negatives, fragile yet crystal clear. No filters, no edits, just light, chemistry, and stillness. It's peace, love, and old-school film tech. A quiet afternoon, frozen in silver halide. Time travel through a single frame when even a moment felt eternal. Oxford Street, London, 1919. Women paving roads with tar and flintstones. No machines, just grit and teamwork. This was post-war rebuilding, one rock at a time. A young boy on a tractor. Tiny hands grip a massive wheel. His eyes squinted like he meant business. He's not just playing, he's imitating his father, trying on adulthood like an oversized jacket. Rural life, family bonds, the hum of fields in summer, and pure, timeless childhood joy. No screens, no noise, just dirt roads, diesel scent, and dreams, bigger than the machine he sits on. New York, 1905. Fifth Avenue seen from above, facing north. Elegant brownstones line the street like chess pieces. Horse-drawn carriages weave between pedestrians in hats and long coats. No horns yet, just hoofbeats and ambition. Already iconic, already buzzing. The city hadn't found its full height, but its energy was unmistakably skybound. Modern life was just beginning to gallop. Tesla, 1899, Colorado Springs. Surrounded by sparks, lightning arcs, and beautiful madness. He stood inside a storm of his own making, testing wireless energy before Wi-Fi was even a whisper. High voltage, alternating current. The lab pulsed like a living thing. He wasn't just chasing science, he was chasing the future. And for a moment, he caught it. He lit up the world, before the world understood what it meant. A samurai, mid-1860s, katana in hand, armor gleaming, frozen in a battle stance, calm, precise, deadly. He stood at the edge of history as Japan rushed toward modernity. The Meiji Restoration loomed, guns replaced swords, tradition bowed to progress. He was one of the last, the final warriors of feudal Japan, honor intact, time slipping away. Nitin Sichinda, Pride March, USA. Only a year after Stonewall, one marcher holds a bold sign, handmade, shaking, but unwavering, unapologetic, loud, defiant. Not a parade, a protest. Every step meant risk. The streets weren't safe, but they marched anyway. The fight for equality had just begun, with courage, cardboard, and unshakable pride. Love was on the line, and so were their lives. 1909, President Theodore Roosevelt, standing tall on the deck of the USS Connecticut. It's his final week in office, but his presence still commands storms. He delivers a booming speech to the crew, naval caps raised in salute. The big stick policy isn't just theory, it's steel, steam, and global posture. America was flexing. And Roosevelt? He made sure the world heard it. Winter of Hunger, 1944 to 1945. The Hague, Netherlands. Children huddle around thin bowls of emergency rations. Cold hands, hollow faces. There was no heat, no meat, just tulip bulbs, sugar beets, and hope. Food was measured by the spoonful. Survival became a full-time job. The war was ending, but for these kids, every bite was a battle. 1930s, California. Kids salute the U.S. flag outside Morgan Hill School, hand outstretched, straight, proud, routine. Patriotism echoed through playgrounds. But look closer. That salute? It resembled something dark rising in Europe. By the 1940s, it was replaced with the hand over heart. Same flag, different gesture. History, politics, and symbolism collided right at the morning bell. 1890, Saskatoon, Canada. Mountains of bison bones were stacked sky-high beside the railway. Not for study, not for reverence. Shipped to England by the ton, crushed to make bone china and fertilizer. Once sacred animals of the plains, now just exports. Colonial profit over indigenous life. A quiet genocide measured in bones, not bullets. Marseille, 1940. Crowds gather at the port, silent and stunned. French battle flags were loaded onto ships bound for Africa, not in triumph, but retreat. Germany had conquered France. The Third Republic had collapsed. Colonial forces were scattered. The empire, once vast, was splintering. What sailed away wasn't just troops. It was pride, power, and a crumbling illusion. The RMS Carpathia, Titanic's hero ship, July 17, 1918. She saved hundreds in 1912, but fate had its plans. Sailing for Boston during World War I, 3 German torpedoes tore through her hull. No time to react. She sank fast, and 5 men lost. A legend in rescue, now a casualty of war. Meet Archelon, a 15-foot, 4,800-pound sea turtle from 80 million years ago. Fossilized giant on display at Yale since 1902. It swam through prehistoric oceans while T-Rex ruled the land. Its shell? More like armor plating. This wasn't a pet, it was a living tank. Evolution went big back then. Real big. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on anything.